Hi, this is the podcast Open Minded. My name is Roberto.
I am Alejandro.
We have a special guest today.
I am Eric.
So today's topic is about bad drivers and their habits. We see them and we know them.
Personally, we've had about 3 run-ins with bad drivers. I've had 2, and Eric has had 1.
Well, the time I got hit by a car was me and my brothers were going on a bike ride, and we were crossing a green light, and there's this lady that was trying to cross the green light. While we were crossing, and she hit me on the back wheel of my bike, and yeah, my bike's wheel was all crooked after that.
I think we were around 7 years, right? If I remember. We were coming from Walmart, I think.
And I think we were bike riding to Walmart to Walmart.
To Walmart. Yeah, because I remember it was this older lady. It was this older lady, and I think in a Toyota Corolla, probably the 2000s or so. She looked scared after that.
Yeah,
it was green for us. Like, we were good. Like, we had the right of way to walk, and for some reason she decided to turn when Eric was barely crossing and got his back wheel.
Yeah, the back of his wheel got caught under the car. So.
And then I remember we were trying to stop her, right?
Right. Yeah.
We were trying to stop her, and she continued going, probably because she was afraid of what we might have done. But yeah, we tried stopping her. We got Eric out of there.
But she kept on driving, after a couple of times we got her attention. Like, she kept on driving.
She kept on driving forward with Eric in there. Like, I think we've never really talked about this, huh?
Mm-mm.
I was like, we just didn't want our parents to not let Eric go out with us, because probably they would think that we are not responsible enough to take care of Eric, because he never really ride bikes with us as often. So he doesn't really have that much experience, but and then he did have a little, I don't know, let's say a little kiddie bike. It wasn't like those really small ones for really people that are barely beginning to ride bikes.
Yeah.
And then my first run-in with a car, it was I was in middle school. Don't remember what age I was exactly. But yeah, I was in middle school. I was heading to the bus stop, and my friend was on the other side of the street, and I was on the other end. And on my side, there's a bunch of dogs. They were barking because I was walking through a somewhat, I think, private street. It wasn't a big street. It was just small one. And I remember I wanted to cross over to where my friend was, because I was afraid that dogs would come out. And yeah, pretty much I looked both ends. I didn't really see a car at all. And then all of a sudden, this green car, I think it was this green Chevy, a sedan, all of a sudden it just came and hit me on, just hit me on the leg, and I went flying up in the air. Luckily, nothing happened. I did limp for a little bit because, it hurt. But yeah, and then the second time I got hit, I was crossing the street. The guy was in a Toyota pickup. I think it's a Camry. No, not a Camry. Tacoma. And we were all crossing. Probably he didn't see me, but he was at a stop. He was on a stop sign. And all my friends, my brother and my friends went through, and for some reason, I guess he didn't see me, and he started going. He went slow, but yeah, he dragged me for a couple of feet, and until I kicked off his license plate. That's when he stopped. And yeah, like I got my bike out of like under the bumper of the car, and yeah, I walked to the other end of the street to like probably write down his information, but he just drove off too. He drove off too, like with the older lady. Like the older lady ran away after we got Eric out of there. And yeah, like
Wait, so you're talking about, wait, so you're talking about the time when you got hit by a car, or you're talking about Eric?
no, at the end, yeah. She like the guy didn't really stop. He just kept on going, and it was the same thing with the older lady when Eric had his like run in with the car.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I've never been hit by a car, but there's been a couple of times where I could have gotten hit if I wouldn't have reacted. Because one thing that I see is a problem is that when a car is changing lanes, so like when it's gonna turn into street, when it's gonna make a left turn or a right turn into another street, and they like when it's your right of way to walk, they just make the turn like even though you're walking. So it's like more like a split second reaction that you need to have. So, but I mean, yeah, I've encountered a lot of those experiences, but it's most likely because they're in a hurry, in a rush. But I mean, that's not an excuse. So, but yeah, other than that, I've never been hit by a car. It's just more like split second reactions that I was able to do before hitting a car, before getting hit by a car. So
Yeah, it's like I know like some of the things that I get mad at when like people when they stop after the line. Like they don't really stop before it. And like at least the way that I prevent that is by when I'm driving, I'll stop a little bit early and just like creep a little forward until I know I'm like nearby the line and not crossing it. And yeah, and probably one of the they might be in a hurry, or if not, like they're just distracted with like their phones and stuff.
well,
don't they
don't they describe those people who are on the phone? Don't they describe them as old people driving? Because usually when they're on the phones and like they're at a stoplight, they usually take a long time to start driving forward.
It's like so you're probably saying like they're old, like as their reactions are as
No,
like an old
I'm not
person,
saying their reactions are as an old person, but I've heard many people label them as old people because like they're on their phone, so like
they take a while to react.
yeah, during a stoplight, once it turns green, they just stay there. They don't drive their car forward. So
And probably some people are just they're not aware of it. Like they're probably paying attention to the people at the other end, or like they find something interesting, like let's say a house. They're looking at the house or trees with like fruits or something. He's like, I'm pretty sure like you guys have encountered a lot of things when you guys are walking from school or from other places. He's like from like people like let's say looking for their kids or something like that.
well, I think it's just more common them being on the phone while they're driving.
Well, one thing I say that's very common, and from my personal experience, is that people are very impatient, and Um, I see that they always want to try to cross the light, even though there's people crossing.
Mm-hmm.
And also another thing is that they're usually on their phone too, and sometimes they get very distracted. Like there's been times when me and Bobby have had our run-ins with, like, people who are on their phones and they're driving,
Mm-hmm.
and we've almost gotten hit a couple of times.
And then also, you have the drivers that are always like they're like a couple of feet away from you. Like they're always driving very close to you. Like they're in a hurry, and like they usually go on the side and they switch lanes and they speed up in their car and they cut you off.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that in most cases you end up seeing that person. You're next to that person once you get to the light. Like it doesn't make much of a difference. Just
Yeah,
like
it's
a
like
couple of seconds, but that's it. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't. It's not like if gives you like a 10 minute or like a 5 minute advantage or something. It's
yeah, like you don't really gain much from like doing stuff that because in a way you could cause an accident or like cause the person walking to get an injury from the decision you made. Like because yeah, cutting that I don't know, let's say that second or those 5 seconds, it's not really worth it. Then like I know like yeah, like sometimes you are distracted and you don't really see the people there, but
by the way, it doesn't give you an excuse, but
mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess in most cases it's just they're in a hurry, and it's like in Mexico when, like over there in Mexico when you're driving, if you're driving slow, the person because it's usually like because like when it's on a canyon, it's usually two lanes,
Mm-hmm.
both lanes, each one for an opposite route, so your cars are facing the opposite way. And what a person does is that like if you're going very slow, they just jump onto the other lane and they just speed. They just speed up in the car, even though if it's the opposite lane,
Mm-hmm.
and while they cut you off.
But I think that's more. I don't know if it's legal or
No, it's not legal
not legal. Because like I know in
because it's dangerous. Why is it gonna be legal?
I don't know. But like I know like in European countries they do that a lot too. But
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
not
think.
sure about their laws over
I
there.
don't, I don't think it's legal because it's dangerous. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what if like that's opposite lane? So like, what if a car is not so far away from you?
Mm-hmm. And you misjudge it or.
Yeah, and like I mean, if because basically when you're jumping the lane, you're gonna have to speed no matter what because it's opposite lane. So like, if a car is coming your way, you're gonna have to react really fast and make a turn and cut off the driver. And
Mm-hmm.
you could also get into an accident, and you could most likely get the driver on back of you into an accident. Because I mean, if you're speeding so fast and you make a sudden turn because a car is coming your way, you could easily lose control and you could block the view of the other driver.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like.
but I've never seen that happen over here, but I've seen it. It's very common in Mexico. It's
Yeah,
like a normal thing.
well, at least over here where we live, it's we have pretty big lanes
Mm-hmm.
too. Like small, like pretty much only like the really small streets, like are the ones that are only 2 lanes and enough room for just 2 cars to go through. But if you see like in like smaller streets, they'll have like up to 4, or if not, like on big streets they'll have 6 or so.
No, well, this one, well, it's in a town, so
Mm-hmm.
it's obviously they're not gonna have enough funds to like construct a larger,
A wider street.
a wider street or a highway. Like it's.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense like spending that much money because
Mm.
you're not gonna have that much traffic in there to actually use it. And yeah, like.
Well, sometimes there's traffic. It just depends.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I mean, like, you have all those trailers coming in, bringing in like a soda, water to sell to the merchants in the town. So
Mm-hmm. So that might cause some traffic. Because,
yeah,
yeah, like a larger vehicle is always gonna move smaller.
mm-hmm.
It's always gonna move slower, not smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, like of course, like I don't know, like I think some bad habits I've seen from people are like, let's say, eating while driving, or if not, like just yeah, just to get somewhere faster. Like let's say they have to go to the restroom, and they they need to like go right away because they're almost
Mm-hmm.
there and they have to go.
Well, I've heard of some. I've heard from some friends that like. I remember one friend. Her dad. She said that like, it's normal. It's normal for her dad to drink a large can of beer while driving. So like, he's
It could
driving with
be.
one hand and he has the large beer can
Mm-hmm.
with the other hand. It's,
I know some people. Like I've heard of some people. Like they could focus more on driving when they're distracted or somewhat inebriated for some reason. I don't know how that works, but like yeah, like basically it prevents them from doing something like spontaneous at the wheel. He's like, yeah, like of course driving and then depending on like how much time you're driving for it does get boring at times.
Yeah.
And like I do like yeah, some people do need some distractions in order to not get bored of just driving. But I think that's where like people could use like music. Like you could play music through your phone and yeah, so you won't get as bored and like just start. I'm like, oh yeah, like well I'm bored right now. I'm gonna start speeding up more, or let me grab my phone and check social media.
and with, I think the common problem is just getting on your phone. It's
Mm-hmm.
well, me like it's like when I drive, I like once I get inside the car, I get my phone and my wallet, and I just put it inside the glove compartment,
Mm-hmm.
and like I don't grab it at all, or like I don't get the urge to uh, pull out my phone from the glove compartment. I just leave it there, like if I didn't have it with me. So
No, but yeah, like you could do that, but there's some people that are like they're very antsy and like they have to do something
mm-hmm.
so they won't get so they won't be bored. Like I know some like yeah, like some people like they can't stay still in line or they can't just like relax and stay calm. They have to be doing something constantly.
Yeah, it's well, like if you're walking, you see a good amount, maybe over 50% of people driving. You see them on their phone while driving. So like they have one hand on the phone and the other hand on the steering wheel. Or sometimes they they they're grabbing the phone with both hands and like
Mm-hmm.
they're just letting the car go straight.
Or they're steering with their leg too.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
I've
from
never
people.
seen that. I've never seen that before.
Then like yeah, like
Okay.
I've had like personally I think like yeah, like you like cops are there to like enforce the law, but then you see them too. You see them too like doing like being on their phone or not using their blinkers or stuff like that because
Oh, that's
personally
another
I
problem.
hate when people don't
When they
use their
don't use their
blinkers at
blinkers.
all.
And they switch the lanes.
Yeah. And like at least I feel like if yeah, like they're there to like enforce the law and when they're on there it's just like at least like it's not like how I see it but some other people might see it as oh since they're doing it and they're the ones that are supposed to enforce it then we could do it too.
Yeah.
just like sort of like I think it's probably like a thing of yeah, like lead by example too. So like if cops are doing it, other people are gonna do it too, because they just feel that they're I don't know like entitled to, because this person that sort of or is higher than you um, is doing it. So yeah. What are some what are other like bad habits that you've seen from people?
Mm. Oh, stops. Especially in shopping centers.
Yes.
That's one thing though. Like but it just happens one time after another. They just take the stop and well they don't stop. They just continue driving, and there's like many times when like you see them press on the brakes and like the split second because I mean they don't take the stop, so the other car keeps on driving.
Yeah, and then like especially if it's like a popular shopping center, like let's say like Target or Walmart or something. I'm like, yeah, like there's gonna be way more traffic going in and out of there, so you should know. You should know that they're like you're supposed to slow down or like just yeah, like allow those people to pass or actually be more alert because you know that there's that store there. And like yeah, and then like at least like I say like when I'm on a stop, like usually the rule that I have is no matter if I know that you got there first or no matter if I know that if I got there first, I would still allow the other person to go first. So like like sometimes like when both of you come to like a stop,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like you don't know if I should go first or they should go first. Like at least the rule that I have is just allow that other person to go first. So then it prevents you from like just accelerating and stopping all of a sudden and the other person too.
Yeah, well, and that's what I say is very common. It's they just continue driving, and yeah, there's just many times when you see they just brake,
Mm-hmm.
they just suddenly press on the brakes and like sometimes they even get pissed like it's your
Yeah,
fault.
like yeah, you know that you're supposed to stop. There clearly is a white line on the floor, or there clearly is a stop there
Mm-hmm.
that's saying that you have to stop. So it is your fault. I don't know why you're getting mad.
It's there to prevent accidents
Mm-hmm.
and control traffic at the same time. So, but I mean, like they just they don't take the stop. They don't. They just continue driving. But yeah, I say it's that and just being on the phone and uh, being in a hurry. But like, there's just sometimes when like they don't care. It's like you can see on the television many times when there's a person clearly walking on a green light and they just dash through. Or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen that video where there was a couple pushing their stroller with their baby inside, and there's some driver that he decided to take the light, and I'm not sure if he didn't see the people, and he was eventually gonna hit the couple, but there was a driver who who became aware of that the car was driving. He was gonna hit the couple, so like he sped up in his car and hit the other car driving fast,
Mm-hmm.
and he basically pushed him out of the way. He pushed the other car out of the way and prevented him from hitting the couple. So
That's a good thing, but
what sucks is that like we don't know exactly like if his insurance paid for the damages of his car and well, I'm not sure how it works in an incident like that because I mean he caused the accident.
He's the one
So
that caused it. Like, in order to save somebody else, I'm like, which, yeah, it sucks because he's gonna pay for all the damages.
Yeah, he's
Because
putting himself in harm's way.
yeah, and then you don't even know if like the other car that he hit, like probably the passenger or the driver, I don't know where this was from, but like the passenger could have gotten hurt too.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, if there was a passenger, but I mean, I wasn't so sure, uh, but I mean, it was the driver's fault.
Mm-hmm.
But but yeah, like that's one thing I've seen that's also very common. That like they just speed while there's someone crossing the street, or like also you have the people who are driving late in the night without their flashlight their front lights on. So
Mm-hmm.
and there's like many times where like you're just driving and you're not aware that the car's even there because it's very dark and sometimes it's a black car or like a dark gray car and you're driving and you barely notice that the car is there.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, yeah, there's this I'm pretty sure if you noticed, but there's this like unspoken rule that like drivers have whenever they see another driver with their lights off, they just flash their lights on and off. They flash their high beams off and on, which is a good thing. It's a
Yeah.
pretty, I don't know, it's a pretty nice thing to do in order to like prevent an accident. But yeah, like I've had a few times where I'm driving and I'm gonna do, like, let's say I'm gonna switch lanes, right? And like I always use my blinkers, but yeah, like I turn on my blinker to do like a right, like, lane change, and like I'm already turning, and then all of a sudden that person beeps or something like that, because I didn't see them, because they didn't have their lights on at night.
Yeah. When it was their fault.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty dangerous, but I don't get why
Why they don't turn
Why
on
they don't
when they
turn on the
clearly
lights,
see
and-
that it's off.
yeah. One thing also don't like is when like they just cut you off out of nowhere.
Oh, that too, yeah.
And yeah, like you said, they don't use their blinkers, and it's like sometimes like there's some cars that like even though like you're speeding really fast, they just cut you off out of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. Like they'll just, yeah, like,
They
they
just
just
like
cut you
dash
off.
in, yeah. They were
Or
they were
if not, like they'll cut you off and they have to brake all of a sudden
yeah.
because they were going too fast, and then that gets you to brake too.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like, the person behind you might have not seen the car that cut you brake too. So like, yeah, like, that may cause an accident too. Yeah, I remember one time when I was in the freeway. I was in the 10 freeway, and all of a sudden, I think it was a car like 3 lanes into the freeway, and all of a sudden he just speeded all the way through. He cut everybody in front of us and went through the exit.
I seen that a couple of times. It's when like they just jump a bunch of lanes, right?
Mm-hmm. They
Yeah.
jump a bunch of lanes, and at least nobody was prepared for this. And I remember like everybody started braking all of a sudden, and I remember I think there's probably a semi in front of me and a pickup truck, and at this time I had this small Toyota Corolla. Yeah, like all of a sudden I had to brake really hard. Like everybody was burning tire. There was like a bunch of smoke because of this guy that decided to do that, or this guy or this person. I don't know if he was a guy or a girl, but this person decided to exit when he was on the 3rd lane. He did that, and then like, yeah, he caused everybody to brake really hard. And I remember seeing there were some people that went onto the shoulder because they couldn't brake fast enough. And yeah, that could have been like really big accident because I think it was there was like probably 3 to 5 cars in front where the guy cut, and like I was burning tire, and I was like probably the fourth or sixth car in there, and like the people behind me too. So imagine if like we would have not reacted fast.
Yeah. Well, I remember this one time that me and Eric were with our parents in L.A. and in Figueroa Street. There was this guy in a white Mustang out of nowhere, like in the middle of the street. Like he just began to do donuts, and like Figueroa
Yeah.
Street it's a very active street. There's usually a bunch of traffic or like a bunch of cars driving, and yeah, like out of nowhere he just began to do donuts. Like you just see him like turn really quick, and he just began to do donuts. Like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's more like reckless driving because I could have, like, yeah, like the people that didn't expect that at all. Like,
Yeah.
imagine all of a sudden they see a guy like doing a bunch of donuts. I'm like, so now you're afraid because he might
Yeah.
spin out of control or.
No, yeah, like it was a Mustang, so like it has a lot of
Mhm.
horsepower, so you could easily easily lose control and just like crash into um crash
A
into an
car,
establishment
to you
or like a
guys.
car, like and yeah, like I remember this one time also when I walked out of the gym, there was a car that like rammed into Del Taco. Uh, I don't get how that happens, but like it's very common how you see in the news like out of nowhere like just like a car just drives into a restaurant
Mhm.
or just
Or a
a
store or
random
something,
store
yeah.
like I don't get how that happens like
I don't know, at least I think that probably he wanted to stop and on accident he
you
pressed
just press on
accelerator.
the gas pedal.
Yeah, but I feel like if if you do that, I'm pretty sure you have more than enough time just to press the brakes.
Yeah,
Like I don't know how you would go all the way through there, but I'm pretty sure those people were scared out of their mind.
yeah.
Imagine like you're eating a taco and all of a sudden
the
like
car
this car
just,
goes through.
like drops your table and yeah, like
Tacos
Yeah.
go flying everywhere.
yeah. I remember that it was a Corolla. It was completely inside the Del Taco. It was
Mhm.
so random. It was so weird. And like, well, you also have those sleepy drivers that
Mhm.
it's like they're very deprived of sleep and they're driving around.
Yeah, I know. I'm really like I have sleep problems, or I don't let myself sleep. But yeah, like I do drive like that all the time. But I've never had an accident. Like I could be probably like half asleep driving,
No, but
but
like
I'm still
what I mean is
alert
like
enough.
what I mean is like you because I mean obviously when you drive
Mm-hmm.
uh you sleep the day before and then you drive and you come out of work and then you drive. What I mean is like the people who like haven't had any sleep at all,
Mm-hmm.
like not even before going into work or something, like maybe for like 20 like 15 and 20 hours and above of that they haven't had of sleep, like they're just driving. And yeah, I've heard a couple of stories of some people just like driving into walls and poles because they're just very sleep deprived.
I know. I think that happened to me once because I don't know. I have this like
You drove into a wall?
no, like that's like I've fallen asleep on the steering wheel before. It's happened only once, but ever since that day, it scared me so bad. Like I remember, yeah, like I went, yeah, like I went on a date with a girl, and then like I dropped her off in Glendale. I had to drive all the way back, but I didn't know how tired I was. Because like yeah, I was walking around. Like I took her to the fair, I was walking around for like pretty much the whole day, and like pretty much when I walk around in the sun, I just get really tired. I don't know why. But I get really tired, and yeah, I dropped her off. On the way back, I just dozed off, and I remember I went from the lane like the lane right next to the carpool. Yeah, the lane right next to the carpool, and I went into the carpool and then past the carpool lane, like close to the wall, but like I felt the vibrations, and I felt that, and that's what like woke me up. That's what woke me up, and yeah, like I basically steered my car back into the carpool lane and just just continued going. And I like what I did. I played I turned on my music all the way up, opened all the windows, and had the AC cold and like blasting, just to keep me up. And then like ever since that day, now I carry like a little what you call it, like a little jar of pre-workout, just in case if that ever happens again. But I try not driving that tired anymore.
Yeah, stages. Well, um, what one of my professors recommended, it's hitting the back of your neck. So like once you feel like a little process like sticking out of your spine.
Mm-hmm.
So like where the basically the thoracic region of your vertebrae starts. So like it's like when you bend down and like you see that.
So basically, where where your back meets your neck.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah, so you basically see it's like where you feel the first like pointy part sticking out of your back, and like you don't smack it so hard because you could
hurt yourself.
Yeah, you could cause nerve damage, but like what what she recommended is just like you tapping, just like lightly tapping the back of your neck.
It's like I'm not sure what it's gonna do, but probably it'll like your body senses like, oh, something's attacking you. I'm like, and it just probably pump some adrenaline just to wake you up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's what he's trying to get at, but at least that's what I feel.
Well, I don't remember exactly, but it's probably like a nerve that it's probably connected to the maybe like your pineal gland or something.
Mm-hmm. Which will wake you up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a one. That's the only time that's ever happened to me.
And also, what you got people driving under the influence, like during Thanksgiving or like Christmas or New Year's, you see a bunch of drunk drivers on the
yes, of course,
on the freeway. Like they're like sometimes like they're like half of the car, basically like their car is between the division of the lanes.
Mm-hmm.
And like, or like sometimes like their wheel, it's on top of the division, so like you just hear the car like thumping and thumping. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was on New Year's. We went to Fat Sal's, I think, and went to go get coffee. Then after we went on our way back to our aunt's house, we saw like a car flipped.
Oh yeah. It's New Year's Eve, right?
No, it's New Year's.
New Year's? Oh yeah,
New Year's Day.
Yeah, New Year's Day. I remember we went to Fat Sal's, and then we went to the Danny Trejo, right?
Yeah,
the Danny Trejo coffee shop
coffee
or
shop.
donut. And yeah, like all of a sudden we see a car flip, like completely. It was on its roof.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened, but it's probably that person was just celebrating all day long, and then like in the morning, I'm like, oh, I have to leave already, and
yeah, she's in a hurry probably,
yeah.
Or like she was probably hungover or something.
Yeah. What a way to start off the year.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, it's just like driving that under the influence, like it's just very bad. Like, I mean, you could be high, or you could be drunk. It's really dangerous because I mean, it impairs your vision. So
Yeah, like some people should yeah, like I'm at least personally I feel that like whenever I'm buzzed or I'm, let's say, under the influence, like I do know I know when I'm on there, and like of course I won't drive at all.
yeah.
Call it Uber.
Well, like it's crazy how like
Just like some people don't have, let's say, like that discipline to just be, I'm like, oh like, yeah, I'm like, I can't drive.
Why is that
right
way?
now, I'm
Like
not gonna do it.
nowadays, it's more like it's more harder for like a Uber driver to take you when you're drunk. Like I remember this one time, I went bar hopping with Caesar, our brother, and I left with one of his friends, and I was pretty drunk, and like he kept on asking Caesar's friend if I was okay and if I was okay, and well, I guess my brother's friend got annoyed, and he was all like, oh, if you want, just like leave us like at this Denny's, and I was like, okay, that'll be fine, like that's good. So yeah, he just left us, but
Yeah, cause
and like there's sometimes like it's crazy seeing how like some people are really drunk, and like they're like just doing a bunch of random things. They're like
they don't like
they're
dancing,
dancing,
drunk, but they don't know that they are.
Yeah, like they're like dancing around, or like they're just doing very silly things, very embarrassing things, and like imagine them driving. Like it's very dangerous.
Yeah, of course. But then, like, yeah, like it just, I don't know. Just some people don't know when, like they're not aware that they are. So, yeah, they do dumb things like that. But yeah, that's when like I say, when like people should be disciplined enough. Like, yeah, they know that they're gonna drink, and they know that they're gonna leave, like, let's say 3 hours. In 3 hours, or I don't know how much hours it takes for them to like sober up. But yeah, just start drinking water right away, so you could at least try to sober up as fast as you can, and like not drive. Like, yeah, you have to be at this place at this time. But if you're not sober, then just don't do it at all. And if you know that you have to leave at a certain time, just stop.
Well, yeah, but like another problem is that, like, yeah, if you're very drunk, an Uber driver isn't gonna take you to like any destination where you want to be.
Yeah, because they basically they don't want you to get in trouble, and then and it to come back to them, or
like them throwing up in your car.
Yeah, or then throwing up in your car. It is your car, dude. Like, you spend your money on it, so of course you want to take care of it. But since you're in like a ride share place, I'm like, there's a high chance that this drunk person might throw up in it, and I have to clean it, not them.
Yeah.
And I know that there's I know that in Uber you could charge them for, like, let's say, like, damages to your car if they throw up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can charge them more. Like, you can charge more for that service if they throw up. It's like, yeah.
Alright, so with that we conclude this episode. This episode that was about bad drivers and their habits. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.